Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the ICAA webinar series. This series is around Active Aging Week. I'm thrilled to be here today. My name's Colin Milner. I'm the CEO of the International Council in Active Aging. And before we get going on today's webinar, I would like to thank our sponsors, Humana, Abbott, and Leading Age for their support in helping to promote and get this out to their audiences as well. I have a treat for you today, and this is one of our rare all-male panels. And it also is a rare panel that we have that is sharing the various perspective from CEO level all the way to the programmatic level. So as we go through today, please take ideas from today's session that you can take and implement. The key with this is what can you take back and implement for this year's Active Aging Week initiative or next year's Active Aging Week initiative. So without any further ado, I would like to introduce the speakers to you, starting with, Bob. Bob, now, how do people pronounce your last name? Syron?
Syron, yep.
Just like it looks. Well, Bob, maybe you could introduce yourself and tell folks a little bit about your background, and then we will move to each of the speakers and then start the session off.
Sounds great. Thank you, Colin. My name is Bob Syron. I am the president and CEO of Peconic Landing. I have been here as a CEO for the past 21 years. Prior to that, I worked for two national companies and consulted around the country. I've actually been working in industry for 36 years. I started out as a nurse's aide many years ago and kind of worked my way up, and just gave me a great perspective. I love my job. I'm fortunate to have it and come to this property every single day. I have a 145-acre property at the end of Long Island, 8 miles from the very end, with a half-mile of private beach, a golf course next to it, a vineyard and wine tasting room on the other side of us, and we have a historic mansion on the front of the property. And we have amazing people who live here and work here.
Well, I think I know one of the places that I may explore for my long-term future. And David, maybe you could tell everyone a little bit about yourself.
Yes, sir. Good morning to my Central and West Coast folks, and good afternoon to my East Coast friends. My name is David Nelson. I am the Academy and Volunteer Manager at Shell Point Retirement Community, located in Southwest Florida. It's beautiful here, but it is hot, it is humid, and it's a bit stormy today. A bit balmy here in Southwest Florida. So super excited to be able to be part of this panel. I've been at Shell Point for just over a year. A bit of my background is I started off in education. I taught first grade and fourth grade. I taught high school. I was an assistant principal at a high school, a principal at an elementary and a middle school, and found my way to this very promising industry that I'm really looking forward to continuously learning and being a part of. Shell Point is one of the largest CCRCs on the East Coast, and we are excited to be here and share all the great things that are happening on our campus.
And thank you very much, David. And Brian.
Good morning, everybody. I am Brian Damaska. I am our Spire Wellness Director at Passavant Community, which is located in Zelienople, Pennsylvania, about 30 minutes north of Pittsburgh. And believe it or not, it's pretty hot and humid here as well. And we're, 1,000 miles north of Florida. It's keeping a lot of people inside and with the air conditioning. We are a smaller to medium-sized CCRC with about 600 residents, about a 40-acre campus. And we provide 3 levels of care: independent living, personal care, and nursing, including skilled. And we try to get all those involved into our Aspire Wellness program, which is our approach or our way we deliver active aging and wellness for our residents and greater community. I've worked here for about 15 years and seen a lot of changes and, really the last few years since the pandemic really have put a lot of focus into our wellness program and building it up and really focusing on each dimension individually. I'm excited to be here and kind of share what we are, doing for Active Aging Week in the past and a little bit what's coming in the future.
Well, thank you very much, Brian. And, welcome to each and every one of you for taking the time to join us. We appreciate that. And today's conversation, I think you will find, is very enriching for your knowledge in regards to what is happening with Active Aging Week. And the format for today will be interview and also presentation. So I will be interviewing Bob and David, and then Brian will be doing a presentation for us towards the very end. And as we are 6 weeks out from Active Aging Week, I'd like to start with Bob. So I invite the other presenters to go on mute, and we will see you back here in 15 minutes. Bob, thank you very much for being here. And what I'd like to do is, before we get into things, tell me a little bit about why Peconic Landing is involved in Active Aging Week, and just a touch more about the organization itself.
Sure. So Peconic Landing is about 21 years old, and we've always had some form of wellness programming here, and it's evolved over time. And probably about 4 years ago, we took a look at what we were doing and how we could raise the bar. We have a philosophy of innovation here. And Colin, we looked at your organization and we looked at your pillars and we looked at Blue Zones, and we actually took a look at both of those models. And with a resident-driven committee, we chose our own pillars and created our successful living program here, which has been very successful. Active aging is extremely important, specifically for where we are. Peconic Landing is located in the town of Southold at the very end of Long Island, which demographically is the oldest town in New York State. It's because water surrounds us on all sides, it's a place where people go to retire. So we're very involved with trying to improve the health and well-being of people beyond our campus. So we're really excited about Active Aging Week because we get a lot of people coming to the property for events. Our property is open year-round for folks to come to events, but this is just a great way to showcase the lifestyle, successful living here at Peconic Landing by bringing the community on whenever you can. So this is a real opportunity for us. And actually, it was so successful last year, we chose a new approach this year. So we are doing a 6-week run-up to to Active Aging Week. And it's building momentum, it's building energy, it's educating the greater community, our members, our team members, because all of our events are blended. And we built it off colors of the rainbow. So, the first week is red. It's vitality and passion. Second week going in is enthusiasm and creativity. Yellow is optimism and energy. Green is nature, growth, and harmony. The fifth week is stability and calmness and wisdom. And then we go into a full-blown Active Aging Week that's basically all of our programming and our best practices put on steroids. And it's really a way for people to get involved along the way. They may come in the second week or the third week, but then see it, and we get a huge turnout. We get a large turnout from the greater community, and it's a wonderful event for not just the Peconic Landing members, but seniors in the greater community, as I stated. So it's great. It's a wonderful organization, and thank you for some of the innovation that you've given us to develop our pillars.
Well, it has been our pleasure to also recognize you as last year as the top wellness-based community in the country. So I'm sure that during our conversation here, there's going to be a lot to learn. And for those of you who have any questions, we will do questions at the end of all three interviews and presentations, but feel free to put them into the question and answer section, and I will make sure that I get to them with that. So, Bob, you mentioned about this 6-week lead up. Tell me a little bit about, a little bit more about that, and some of the promotional events, sneak peeks that you do, prize drawing, all these different things to create excitement, because that is one of the greatest challenges for all of us, is participation in any and everything. If we had the magic bullet, I think you would probably be the richest person in the world for getting people to actually change behavior. So, how are you accomplishing that as you move towards Active Aging Week?
Well, I would be remiss if I didn't mention our Successful Living Committee, which is resident driven. Dr. Jen McChesney is a co-chair with Mr. DeVito is a co-chair as well. And there's only 2 staff persons on our committee, our lifestyle coordinator, our chief operating officer, and then we have 8 other members. So this is really a member-driven community. And we're seeing this with the new members moving in. The ages are changing. They want to be more active. They want to have a say. There's certain things they like. So they've helped to evolve our new Successful Living program, and I think make it more successful. So having we call them members here because we're actually a cooperative. Having member-driven folks working with us on a regular basis is wonderful. And one thing I learned early in my career is very talented, skilled, and experienced people move to CCRCs. And the last thing you ever want to do is put them on the bench. You want to pull them in. So to create a true community, we pull them in. We help them. We have them help us plan for our team member events as well. And our community is very inclusive. So as I said earlier, many of the events we do are blended and they're specific to the pillars. But just last week, and we had a pickleball tournament on the property. The winner was the COO and his son. Second and third place were two resident teams. So and we're all up there cheering them on, and it was a wonderful thing. And that's just that spirit of community we're very fortunate to have here. But the committee drives the bus. There's no doubt about it. They are creative. They're smart. We select people who we believe will be innovative and help us push the envelope, and they do. They do.
So you just don't select people who speak the loudest.
No, we don't. And the nice thing about it is we have over 36 clubs and committees on the property, and some you have to be up. You have to go through a process to be allowed to participate. I mean, art committee's open, and we have a huge art committee. But our member finance committee and different committees like that, or this committee, we select people. We have people put in applications, talk about, do a little CV, do a little bit of bio as to what they want to get out of participating. Our culinary committee will always be folks who either love the food or don't like the food. But this committee is important to us. I will tell you, successful living, if I said this to someone 10 years ago, in wellness and wholeness and senior living, would be as big as your finance department or as large as any other department, I wouldn't have believed it. It is here at Peconic Landing, and it's grown that way, and it will continue to grow that way because people want a lifestyle and they want choice. And these new boomers coming in, they all been gym members and they've all gone to yoga or Zumba and all these things. So we have to continue to change as the consumer changes. And that is really focusing more on wellness. We have over 6 miles of trails on the property. As I said, we have a half-mile private beach. So we do all different things on the property. It's naturally beautiful. We're outside with nature a lot. And this is, again, I got to say, this is member driven here.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about what you do. You have daily themes for Active Aging Weekend for your Successful Living programs. You focus on healthy eating as one of them. Tell us a little bit about, those various pillars and how those play into your programming during the week.
So what we do is when we put out our newsletter, that's over here in front of me, but I don't think it will show well here. We program it into the month. And then of course there's not enough space to program in all of our cultural arts programming, our wellness programming, or meditation classes, or all the different exercise classes we have. So we have calendars down in our wellness area, our fitness lobby, and things like that. But we pull people. We have a gentleman here who is into Buddhism and into meditation. He teaches meditation classes. But with healthy eating, we have a lot of former chefs, restaurant owners here. We have a real diversity here at Peconic Landing because it's Long Island, a lot of business owners. We're seeing pescatarians, vegans, folks coming here. So we've had to change our whole menus to accommodate the new consumer coming in. But then we do showcases. Every Wednesday, we do a vegan dinner in our bistro. And John, who's an amazing chef here, and the residents love him, will introduce members to vegan eating and healthy eating. And that's part of the healthy eating process. We also take a look at, like, we have president socials. I have one a month, and we celebrate different groups who are doing things and making a difference at Peconic Landing. We're going to have a huge one during Active Aging Week. But the point being is, we really take a look at what we're serving. So we're not serving pigs in a blanket. We're serving healthier foods. We're serving foods from the Blue Zone model, because we have Blue Zone model built into our model as well, and just introducing folks to different ways of eating. And we're seeing people moving from comfort foods to higher end foods. But we're also very fortunate to be out in farm country and on the water. So we do a lot of farm to table eating here. Water to table fishing here. Everything is fresh. Everything is cooked from scratch. Nothing comes here processed.
So as you look at what you're doing during Active Aging Week, and you look what you've done in the past, what has been the most successful for you, and also what has been the most challenging for you, and how have you overcome those and celebrated your successes?
That's a great question. I'm going to start with the reverse first. I guess the biggest challenge for us initially when we started several years ago was getting community involvement. And this is one of the reasons why we're going 6 weeks as a warm up. This is like the runway before we take off. It's building the energy and enthusiasm, and bring a buddy program here. And if the residents bring a buddy, we put them in for a raffle types of awards, and that's someone from the greater community. That's been a challenge for us in the past. I actually believe the challenge for us this year is we may become oversubscribed, and we don't want to have someone have a negative experience. So we're looking at ways to, we're capping it, but then we're also understanding that people always show up anyway. So we're trying to plan ahead that we may be oversubscribed for some programs. Pickleball is like the hottest thing on Long Island right now, and it's very hot on our property. So we've opened up a lot of our amenities here. And what we're going to do is, if it's oversubscribed on that day, we'll switch them to another amenity on another day. So they don't have to do the planned event that day. They can migrate to the event on another day. And that way we capture them just the same and not turn them away.
So you do a specific event each day versus multiple events, and you focus on that one event.
We do one large specific. So we always have a calendar going. We always
Yeah.
have a calendar going of all of our events. But then we do one large blended event, so the team members can participate as well as the members. And we really focus on that, and we bring the greater community as well. So if for some reason that is oversubscribed, we will accommodate them on another day, and run a smaller program for that. So a lot of folks want to get onto our pickleball courts, our Hartrue tennis courts, or get into our pool or our gym. And we want them to, because we want them to experience the lifestyle here. And it's a tremendous marketing opportunity for us. And we're in it for the wellness. We're not in it for the marketing, but marketing also drives our revenues in all our CCRCs. So no, it's a great opportunity to bring people to Peconic Landing and show this is not a place where people go to age. This is a place where they go to live.
And how is during Active Aging Week? Do you have any multi-generational offerings that you do?
We do. Not as many as I would like, to be honest with you, but we do. And generally, the real multi-generational opportunities really work between our 16 and 18 and 20-year-old staff and the members. So in a pickleball tournament, we had 20-year-olds playing 80-year-olds, and 16-year-olds playing 80-year-olds, some of our servers. So it's really through our younger staff. But we do throughout the year bring the schools to the property. I have 2 interns this summer, a 20-year-old and a 26-year-old. And I always have interns. These are my 31st and 36th interns here. And we have them rotate through the departments, work with the members. We just had them run an iPhone class for our residents, which was oversubscribed. And let's face it, a 26-year-old and a 20-year-old knows how to use an iPhone way better than a 60-year-old or a 50-year-old. So we utilize them with the residents, and that is oversubscribed, that class. So I think we could do more of that, but we do have the children come and sing concerts and things like that here, but we really want people interacting here, not just coming and performing and leaving. So we use that.
Well, and interacting, one of the areas that a lot of people are beginning to interact with is AI. Let's talk a little bit about what you're doing, not only during Active Aging Week, but beyond that, around AI with your Dari program.
Yep.
That might be something I think for the listeners that they would find very interesting. At least I did.
Well, what we're fortunate to do is we've partnered with two physical therapists, and they're physical therapists to professional athletes. And it's very common now for professional athletics to use AI to assess and evaluate players coming in. Like this is used in the NFL Combine, and it'll evaluate people's strengths and weaknesses. And the AI is so smart, you can say, well, this guy may have a shoulder injury down the road because his shoulders aren't strong enough to carry the weight of something or other. So we have a world famous PT that's lives out here, and he wants to stay out here as much as often. He travels all over to Dubai. He works for a professional golfer who's won many events out here. So we have Dari, and it's a motion capture system. And this system uses high-speed cameras to create a 3D representation of the body in motion. So it measures your functionality in terms of body. It identifies musculoskeletal imbalances as well as poor movement. Then what it will do is it will assess, it will calculate, and it will build a program for you to strengthen those weaknesses. And it will print right out for you. This is what you need to do to fix it. When I did it, I came out at a functional age 11 years younger than I actually am, but it identified that I need to do work on my left shoulder where I have a torn rotator cuff. It's amazing, and it's FDA approved. A lot of professional athletes are using it right now to assess folks, even in negotiating them coming back. And it's cutting edge, state of the art. And the reason why they're doing it here is because they're looking for an application for folks 75 and older for this. And our residents, we're holding class after class after class, and we're going to allow the greater community to participate too. It's oversubscribed. They absolutely love it because it gives them basically a care plan on how to make their weaknesses stronger and physical exercises they can do to, I guess, successfully age is the best way to put it. And improve their balance. So it's all AI driven. It's all cameras. The PTs, these two professional guys, they're not writing scripts and telling them what to do. The AI is.
Well, it's a great calling card for the external community as well to invite them in and have that done, and then show them how you can create personalized programs during Active Aging Week for them as well. Well, Bob, thank you very much for sharing your thoughts. We will be coming back to you in a few minutes when we get to the Q&A session. I'm now going to move to David Nelson from ShellPoint, and David can share a little bit about what they're doing for Active Aging Week. So thank you, Bob.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Colin. Oh, sorry, Bob. I apologize about that. Colin, thanks for having me today. I really appreciate it. Once again, my name is David Nelson. I am the Academy and Volunteer Manager at Shell Point Retirement Community in Southwest Florida, specifically Fort Myers area. The Academy and Volunteer Manager has the opportunity to be able to oversee all of the educational and cognitive opportunities that we bring into our community. A goal for our community is to keep to keep residents actively engaged, continue to build upon their lifelong learning skills, continue to cognitively challenge them, and make sure that that they find an opportunity to be able to find a passion and a purpose to go along with that. So that is also my responsibility as the volunteer manager, is to triage residents to be able to find their specific passion, their specific purpose, and knowing that they wake up each and every single morning and have an opportunity to be able to go out and live their lives and make a difference, and not only on our campus but also in our community. So super excited about being here. We opened up our doors in 1968 down here in Southwest Florida. Colin and I were recently speaking about a major hurricane that we took on head on in a few years ago, and we're just about fully recovered from that. We continue to grow, we continue to build, and we continue to work on just different initiatives that will help us continue to be trendsetters here in the industry. So super excited about talking about Active Aging Week, as we've been doing this for years now. And really, Colin, we've hosted wellness fairs, we've hosted wellness bingos, we've hosted wellness walks, we've hosted different presenters and lecturers to come in to talk about wellness, to talk about active aging. We host fitness classes and fitness presentations. We've held pickleball tournaments, throughout the week. And so, kind of much like Bob, is that we do have our active aging week very much structured for the residents to be able to have something engaged each and every single day. We do promote Active Aging Week in our Compass brochure, which is a bi-monthly brochure that comes out that we are able to get the residents excited, expose them to what's coming up in our community, how they can sign up for the different events and activities. And so the Active Aging Week will be a two-pages and part of the brochure coming out at the very beginning of September. And it just talks about, what are we doing throughout the week? What are we doing to engage residents? What are we doing to be able to meet the needs of all the residents here on our campus? We most recently rolled out a new platform called WellZesta. In WellZesta, we work off the dimensions of wellness. And so really, for me as the academy manager, and then my background in education, being able to meet all the needs of all of our residents on campus, right? So Colin, 2,500 residents, 1,900 independent living, roughly 600 assisted living. How do we do that? And so really promoting, getting on ShellPoint TV, promoting things through the Compass brochure, through the weekly reminders, having posters and flyers, and just really making sure that we over communicate all of the different activities and events and ideas that are happening here on campus.
Well, hang on a sec, David. I mean, you promote all these things. Not all of them can be successful. So as you look at all of what you just talked about, are there any of them that are, if I could say, I hate to use the word the magic bullet, but ones that just get outstanding attendance, outstanding results, versus others that maybe could do with some improvements? And if so, what have you done to improve those? But let's start with the ones that have been most successful, because folks on the webinar today are looking at, what can they do or add to what they're doing that has some success behind it.
Absolutely. So on Tuesday, October 7th this year, we're going to continue with our Academy Health Matters Symposium. So what does that mean? Beginning at 10 o'clock, we're going to have a speaker for 15 minutes talk about health and wellness, and what does that look like here on ShellPoint's campus. The next speaker will come in after 15 minutes, and they're going to talk about what are some opportunities at our health center or our medical center. We do have a health center and medical center here on campus. So what are some opportunities that our residents that may not know about? How do we get them involved? How do we communicate with them to help them understand all the opportunities that they could take advantage of in our health and wellness center? Our third lecturer will come in and speak on more of introducing some of the residents to the staff of the Health and Wellness Center. How can they get to know them, get to know the opportunities to be able to work with them? Then we'll take a bit of a break, and these are going to be like TED Talks. So 15 minutes, little break, 15 minutes, little break, 15 minutes, little break. And then our big break will allow the residents to get up, walk around, move a little bit, but also interact and have some conversations with not only our presenters, but each other to talk about what they just heard. What did they just learn? We'll bring the residents back into the meeting room where we're going to have our keynote speaker talk about overall health and wellness. But at the same time, we always talk about lifespan, right? Lifespan. We're continually focusing on here wellness, right? Health span. How can we live healthy for as long as we can? What does that look like here at ShellPoint? How do you get involved here at ShellPoint in being able to do some of those things? And so I think that's really a big winner of ours, Colin, is that health symposium where they get to listen to different speakers. They don't have to sit for 45 minutes. They don't have to sit for an hour and a half. they get to hear very short, concise speakers talking specifically about wellness, about health span, how they can get involved in the things that they could do each and every single day to be able to really achieve their goals and really meet their own needs, whatever they expect of themselves.
So they hear these wonderful webinars, then what? What happens with the information that has been guiding them? As an example, I was reading a recent research report that showed that out of 180 countries around the world, the U.S. is last between with the greatest gap between lifespan and health span. 12.4 years compared to Letoso in Africa that is much, much shorter. So as you talk about all of that, now what do you do to implement programs that they can actually participate in during the week that hopefully maybe inspires them to continue participating beyond that week?
Yeah, so in our 10 dimensions of wellness, we have hundreds of opportunities throughout the week. But in the platform WellZesta, residents actually have the opportunity to be able to go in and select opportunities that can cover the different dimensions of wellness. So when we have these speakers come in and they talk about health span, they talk about lifespan, they talk about healthy eating, they talk about all these different opportunities that residents have on campus, residents have the opportunities to be able to go on and earn points towards the dimensions of wellness. As a community, we ask residents to be able to match up their points weekly to see are they spreading out their opportunities? Are they being involved in environmental wellness? Are they being involved in intellectual wellness, spiritual wellness, vocational wellness, social and physical wellness, emotional wellness, right? Personal wellness. So residents can actually track this on their own to see are they actually actively participating in the wellness program here at Shell Point.
So what have you learned from doing all of this?
I've learned that residents keep me busy. Residents keep themselves busy, honestly. I think that the biggest thing that I've learned is that much like Bob, we have a resident programming committee, and that committee is very diverse, comes from all walks of life, and they've really kind of helped us learn about the new residents that are moving in. We don't want to forget about the silent generation. We don't want to forget about the residents that we have on campus. So we have to plan for the residents that we have on campus. We have to plan for the residents who are coming on campus. We have to really be diverse in our programming, really make sure that we're meeting the needs of all different types of residents and not forgetting our assisted living residents as well. So I've learned to be creative. I've learned that the more that we can listen to very knowledgeable people who come from wonderful backgrounds is tremendous help in moving this forward. And really listening to the people and trying to determine what do they really want, what do they need, what are they looking for, and then promoting that throughout campus, promoting that through classes and activities and communication, and being able to host events and getting folks together and really learning from their voices.
And, as you talk about all of this, it sounds wonderful and there's lots of different things that are going on. But I'm sure that there's some challenges that come up with all of this. What have you seen that are some of your greatest challenges when it comes to putting together your Active Aging Week program focus or approach? And how have you overcome those?
Yeah, that's a great question, Colin. We have experienced some great challenges the last couple of years during Active Aging Week. It happens usually near the beginning of October. What does that mean for us here down in Southwest Florida? That's the heighten of our hurricane season. So we deal with all kinds of weather. You never really know what you're going to get in October. Last year, we experienced Hurricane Milton in the middle of October. So really programming the events and making sure that we have the space that will accommodate as many residents as possible. We've tried to go on a boat ride to a beach. It was beautiful, but it was 94 degrees with 85% humidity. That didn't really work out too well. We tried to do urban polling in an outside area. It was great, but it rained early in the morning, and in October, you really don't expect those morning rains. But again, these tropical systems, you really never know what you're going to get. So the time of year is a little bit challenging for us. We have to make sure that we use space that can accommodate our residents, and most of it is the indoor space. We've had many of our activities had to be canceled because of Milton last year. We were only able to do the second half of our activation week last year because the first half was just kind of recovering from some of the storm surge that did take place from Milton. And then folks coming back on campus, we are very seasonal down here in Southwest Florida. We have about 33% of our residents that do like to travel over the summer, especially during the hurricane season. And so last year, they didn't really return until maybe the beginning of November. So Activation Week was a little bit less attended last year. We're hoping that we're praying for no storms this year. The tropics can give us a bit of a breather this year, and really focusing on what activities can we promote that are indoors, that will accommodate as many residents as possible, and really engage them and help them understand that these classes, these presentations, these activities, everything is about health span and about wellness. And these are the different ways that you can get involved and be able to do that.
So the moral of the story is to have a plan B.
To have a plan B and to maybe start to plan on a second active aging week that we might be able to host. And we know it's not going to be national, but our own active aging week here at Shell Point, where we do have most of our residents on campus. We know that in February, it's more than likely that we're not going to get a tropical system. So, having celebrating active aging week with everybody in ICAA and around the United States and world, but at the same time, maybe even hosting our own to make sure that we do get a full weekend of planned activities and allowing our residents to be able to just really experience the whole aspect of active aging week.
Well, a lot to think about. And my last question for you, David, is in the same question that I asked Bob, and I'll ask Brian as well, and that is, the whole conversation now is around AI, not the whole conversation. Much of the conversation is around AI and how it's going to impact us and where it's going to take things, how it's going to drive programming, how it's going to drive marketing, your CRM systems, all of that. So in the spirit of Active Aging Week and Shell Point as a whole, how have you adapted to that new reality to help you deliver and make your life easier, or have you?
Yeah, I think, Colin, it's a great point that AI is making a huge difference in the world. And we have many residents on campus that are interested into what is AI, how can they use AI. Some are a bit fearful as well as to, is AI going to take away from that being personal, right? Those conversations, right? Being able to see each other face to face. But one thing that we've done in the academy is we host AI classes and presentations really on a monthly basis to allow our residents to start to become more familiar with what is AI, how could they gently begin to use AI. And this has really made a difference in our residents' lives in terms of being able to have conversations with their children, with their grandchildren, with their great-grandchildren, being able to stay relevant in the world of communication as to I can sit and have a 10-minute conversation about AI with my great-granddaughter or my grandson. So I think in the academy, we've tried to promote AI and the different aspects of AI and the different versions of AI and platforms and what you can use and how to be able to use it, how to stay safe. We are looking into some different robot opportunities for some companionships. We do have some academy classes coming up here in September that will allow residents to be able to actually banter and have some conversations back and forth with different robots to see, is this something that might work here on campus? How can we utilize them on campus? And what's the turnout going to be, and what's the response going to be from those interactions? So we're diving into the world. There are many initiatives coming up that we're really excited about. And I do believe that many of our residents, too, are very intrigued and interested in learning more about AI and how that world looks in 2 years and 5 years and maybe even 10 years.
Well, thank you, David. And I think it will be intriguing, and we'd love to, hear back from you when you have even more insights in regards to how AI is impacting you, the organization, and in this instance, Active Aging Week. So we're now going to move to Brian, and Brian is going to share his screen with us and share a little bit about what he's doing at his community. Brian, maybe you could introduce yourself again and go a little bit more in depth in regards to the community as well.
Okay, yeah, I'm Brian Damaska. Aspire Wellness is what we developed about 5 years ago. Kind of the others have mentioned, a part of our communities, there has always been some type of wellness, but really, it's been more of a fitness program. So we really expanded that to all dimensions of wellness. Aspire is actually our acronym with taking a little play on the 6 or 7 dimensions of wellness. So there's active, spiritual, intellectual, relational, and expressive. This is actually a picture of our train room with a couple of our train room volunteers. Passavant community is a little bit older community. It was actually built or started in 1895 with many iterations over the years. And actually, you come on our campus, it's in a small little town. It's kind of an old farming town in just like I said, a little bit north of Pittsburgh. And you'll see a big pillar, and it has the old folks' home. So that's kind of a cool reminder of history, but also representation of how far we've come in our programming and as a society and also as a community of how we provide wellness to our elders in the community. So this is so how we take the approach to Active Aging Week was we try to add 1 to 2 or 3 new programs per week in each of our dimensions of wellness. And there's kind of things that we do occasionally, but we try to lighten it up, kind of create a program on steroids like Bob had mentioned. And we're really focused, does it celebrate the gift of long life? Because we really look at long life and our residents as a gift, and it's a pleasure for us to provide opportunities for them. We also ask, does it bring purpose to your life? Our residents, that's important. Can they wake up in the morning and have a purpose to their day and what they're doing? And do you have fun and experience joy? We have a retired engineer who's lived in Japan for 10 years. Very serious businessman. He also lived in France, all over the world, in New York City, and he's on our advisory board. And he said he likes this because he has fun. It's as simple as that, and that's what we try to focus on with our programming overall, but especially for Active Aging Week. Actually, kind of let's see, successes and their keys to success. So I would recommend for anybody, don't go at it alone. Think interdisciplinary team. So we have our nursing home administrator, dining services, recreational therapy, our community life team that does a lot of the program for independent living. Get all those involved because it's a whole campus event. With that, in our advisory board also includes 5 of our residents and 2 of our community members, so non-residents. We've been open to the community mainly for a fitness program, but more recently to our whole wellness program, probably since the late 1990s, which has been a very big part of our community because our community is very walkable to a local town of Zillionople, and that's a big reason why people want to move here. It has a quaint little main street with different restaurants. Recent years, there's a couple new breweries. There's kind of consignment shops, art shops, and it's very important for us to be a part of that community, invite them in, and also provide our services out to them. we build energy through targeted promotion. So we had a couple larger events that cost a little bit of money, and I'll talk about that a little bit. And think big, and give away promotions, promote teams. So I'm gonna touch on those a little bit here shortly. So yes, this is our lovely host today that we were to bring in, carrying he's carrying our one of our communication directors on his back, doing a presentation. So we looked at, we do a lot of wellness in our community, but do we live in a bubble? Are we insulated from the larger community? So how do we look to bring what the not just the nation, North America, but the world is doing and part of active aging. So this is not to Colin or the ICAA, which has been great, but sort of, how do we bring the outside wellness into our community? And somebody said we should get Jane Woodall to come speak here. And that would have been cool. We actually looked into that. It was, $500,000, which was kind of larger than our budget. But I reached out to the ICA and like, do you have any speakers? And I think it was Patsy was like, hey, Colin does this. Let's see if this will work. And it did. And it was great. It is brought a lot of insight to what we were doing. Gave us some reformation that we're doing some things right, and also gave us opportunities to look at what opportunities there are to better ourselves. So that was great. That was kind of our keynote speaker. One of the ways we want to build community was we just purchased t-shirts for everybody that had to sign up. So they could sign up and commit to doing 2 of our Active Aging Week activities during the week. And we gave them a t-shirt. So they wore this through events throughout the week. We had a big tailgate party to kick off the week. And it's kind of, building a team around Aspire and our active aging. And this is just kind of a general example of what we did last year. Going back, we probably belonged to the ICA probably since the late 2009, 2010. But it's really the last couple of years that we kind of get more involved in being active with what they're offering. So I don't need to go through this, but it's kind of some extra activities that we were doing. And I just want to show some pictures. You can see the participants wearing their yellow shirts. So one of the initiatives, especially the last 4 or 5 years, to get our nursing residents and personal care residents involved with what everybody's doing. So we're not just looking at the nursing resident as somebody that has like a has-been, is somebody that can be involved and can learn new things and be involved in our overall community. So this is one of the events we had for them. I'm going to skip forward. So this is a cool event because you will see in here some of our independent living residents, our nursing residents, memory care residents, all involved with this drum circle that one of our life enrichment coordinators provided for us. It's just a fun event. It was loud. We have a main street with all our activities on. It was just really loud and a lot of fun. And we like making noise in our community. It shows that we're alive and active and engaged. And go back up. We'd have some intellectual lectures. So this was an event where we had our outpatient therapist do a seminar on balance. So you can also see some yellow shirts of the participants there as well, kind of building that team for Aspire. One of our events is we brought in a opera singer. It's very common for entertainers to be kind of 60s, 70s, even some older, like Frank Sinatra type stuff. We don't have any like opera singers, so we're like, what can be a special event? And I happened to go to high school with a gentleman that traveled all over Europe and has sung in large operas in Italy, Germany, and France, and he was able to come in and do this. And it was quite an event. And we had a 100-year-old that lived in New York City, that used to go as a kid to the opera all the time. And then she hasn't been to opera for such a long time. And she was really like, I want to see the opera. So we were able to provide that for her. And in the meantime, provide the opportunity for everybody else. So some of the challenging is we didn't want to stop our current programming because people love those events, activities, programs, whatever they may be. So we really had to plan ahead of time. Our spaces are, I'm sure, like a lot of communities get booked up, months, 6 months, 8 months ahead of time. So we really had to plan ahead to make sure we had the space for that. So there's some of the costs of the programs, the giveaways, the speakers. I mean, that was something that we had to do some fundraising. I'll touch on very shortly. I think maybe David mentions participation residents. Some of our programmings were had high participation, others, not so much. So it's one of the challenges, and involving all levels of care. So like I said, we don't see as segregated nursing, independent living. We try to involve everybody together. And I mean, that's what makes our community thrive and just that way. So fundraising, once again, this is something that it's tough to go on your own and do by yourself. So I would involve a larger team. I spent some time talking with our foundation and grant writers to see if there's any money out there. We were able to provide some funding that way. The personal donors, you just never know what is going to connect with somebody. For instance, we have a 5K in December, and it is a woman, and her husband had passed away 5 or 6 years ago, but he was an avid 5K runner and athlete. And we were able to secure, a large donation from her to help provide sponsorship for that 5K. We had some personal donors for Active Aging Week as well. There's other campus groups got money and want to donate. So we got some money from there and fundraisers. Sorry, my presentation is a little bit out of order here. So one thing that we did, we sold these stars and put them on our fitness center window, which is right in our main lobby when you walk into our building. And for $10, the residents, staff, employees, family members pledge to be an Active Aging star. So I thought that was kind of cool, and to get to put your name up there is really an exciting opportunity, and helps us also promote Active Aging Week when they see that big, group of stars plastered on the, in their main lobby. So one of the challenges I said was participation. We luckily enough, we were able to have a multimedia coordinator. He does an awesome job. He has some experience in movie making. So we did some viral videos, keep trying to keep current and have some fun with those. There was a couple when I was just walking down our main street, promoting different activities. There's one where I jumped fully clothed into our pool to kind of get a little reaction, have fun with that. And we promote through TV station. A lot of that is resident driven. We have a lot of volunteers for our TV station, and they also help promote those events we're doing as well. So our also all brand communications available. We have a newsletter, a catalog, and all those type of things. We use those. And we also have a very active resident association. So we work hard with them to coordinate events and activities, but also for help them promote. And for example, last year we had a Summer Olympics coordinated with the Paris Olympics. This year we did more of a field day, but they, the Resident Association helped promote those and give participation because they are very active at our community, and these are type of fundraisers. As a smaller community that's not for profit. I mean, I'm sure a lot of others are in a situation where there just isn't money to bring in speakers and stuff like that. So year-round fundraising and talking with grant groups, your foundations if you have them, kind of keeping constant communication. I was talking with our foundation president earlier in the week about a potential donor. So it's just keep those communication lines open. Some of the things that we have coming up, I don't have a slide for this. We really like the idea of inviting Colin to speak to our group. I want to keep that line open. So we are this year. If you are, a '70s Pittsburgh Steelers fan, you might know who this is, but John Kolb was a lineman for those great offensive lineman for those great Steelers teams in the '70s, and he's a retired professor from Youngstown State University, and he is speaking to us this year. We also have one thing, kind of cool things we're doing is a glow stick kind of night party for our residents. And just on a group yesterday in our advisory board, one of our residents had mentioned how they did some vision boarding when they first moved here to keep track of and know what she wanted to accomplish as a resident here and what she wanted to do in her life. So she's gonna actually lead a class on how to vision board. She was executive of a large company, has a lot of experience with that. So it's some of the simple things. So it's
Well,
kind of
not to cut in, Brian, but we have about 5 minutes left. So it sounds like you were doing a lot. If I could ask you, what was your biggest challenge? And maybe while you're answering this, I could invite Robert and David back as well. And if anyone has any questions, if they could put it in the Q&A box as well, while we still have time here.
Well, we decided to do some things that cost money. So the fundraising was the large thing, and participation. This year we have more of a plan to get the more community involved and build up more excitement for the whole event.
And this is a question that I'll ask each of you to address in a succinct manner, and that is, starting with you, Brian, because you are center screen right now, and that is, if you had to do it all over again, what would you do differently? Well, you do have to do it all over again each year, but what would you do differently?
I think plan earlier, start the process a little bit earlier. This year we have done that and took consideration, like even back in February, we started talking about it, so that would be helpful.
Okay. And yourself, Bob?
I would say we created one subcommittee for this. I might make the subcommittee larger. We have the Successful Living Committee, which oversaw the subcommittee, but I think I'd involve some more people in the planning process to make it more successful.
And how about yourself, David?
Yeah, I would say over communicate, find different ways, find new ways to be able to reach the ears of all residents. There are always residents come and say, I didn't know. How can I find just new ways to be able to communicate with residents to be able to get them in front of what might be happening or how they can get involved?
And thank you all. I have a question here from Megan. And what can I do to increase my participation? Bob, any thoughts in that?
I think that was touched on very well by David. To over communicate and use many different venues. We have a amazing communication system here, Icon, that we started several years ago, or actually about a year and a half ago. And I was surprised that we had over 70% of our residents using it. So communicate on every platform you can. The TV, your internal. If you have an icon or a program like that, just over communicate. I think David hit it on the nose.
Okay. And Brian, your thoughts on that same question?
I think treat it individually. Each community is going to be a little bit different, but helps us get to know the residents, get to know who the kind of the mouthpieces are that are good at communicating what's going on. We have a lot better participation when we have our residents help to promote events or programs like that.
So word of mouth, really.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And David, you had mentioned the over communication. Any other thoughts on how to increase participation as we look to move and wind down the session to be respectful of everybody's time?
Provide snacks. But I think also just making sure that residents understand, how can this directly impact me? How does this impact me as an individual moving forward in my life?
I think that that's a great idea. There's a group in Florida called Leon Medical, and I went and visited them, and it was packed with older adults. And what they do is they have literally a transportation system that is constantly getting out into the community, bringing older adults in for free lunch. And from there, they go through the rest of the property, and it has worked for them year in, year out, year in, year out. So thank you very much. I have one last question. It's 10 o'clock my time, 1 o'clock your time. So I'll ask the question and then we will wrap up. And I want to thank everybody for participating in the webinar. And this may be more of a statement versus a question. I'll read it, and then, between the three of you, whoever puts your hand up first gets the question. Sounds like a great program. Our foundation sponsored Year of Wellness with 5 major events. It was great. Cooking demonstrations with lunch to follow, music with sticks led by activity directors from a nearby nursing home, invited the mayor, chief of police, administration, librarian, and social services people. Funds are always an issue since we are affordable housing. I think it was more of a comment than a question. So with that said, I would like to leave us off on that comment. And thank you, Bob, Brian, and David. And thank you to our sponsors, Humana, Abbott, and Leading Age, and also to each and every one of you for being on the call today. And I hope that we will see you on our next webinar. Until then, have a great day. Bye
Thank
now.
you for all that you do, Colin. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you, Bob.
Thank you, folks.
Bye now.